Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to the Welcome Home podcast. If you guys have already noticed, those who are watching, we have a little bit of a different setup today. And I cannot lie, I am super excited for today because it is manifestation in a godly way. Something coming to fruition in a way that we've been hoping for and we've prayed about and prepared for. And we have some amazing guests that will be joining us today. I want to see if you have anything to say before we finally pan over to them.
I don't know. I just got a little nervous.
Yeah.
I think it's because both of them are looking this way, and I'm like, this is a bit too much, guys.
Yeah, and we're kind of like in our element right now. No one's usually here, so.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Welcome home.
Well, it's you ever heard that saying? It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my eyes.
oh man, okay. So let me give them a brief introduction, and then we'll get into things. So this lovely couple, this God-fearing couple, Bernice and I, we met them while we were in college. For those who don't know, we went to Texas Tech University, Reckham, I guess. And I needed a mentor. I think I was a junior in college, and I was telling Bernice, who was my girlfriend at the time, man, I need a mentor. Like, I feel like if I'm just doing, this Christian thing in ministry by myself, I'm bound to fall off eventually doing something crazy. And so literally right after that, I'd probably talked to her about this early in the week, and then I go minister at some place in Lubbock, and there is this big white guy. This big white guy, and I'm like, and I hear him, I don't know if I heard him preach or if he was prophesying, but then as soon as I heard him finish, I said, that's the guy. And then I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, I need a mentor, and I think you're supposed to be my mentor. And I remember him saying, well, I've never been anyone's mentor before, but if the Lord's on it and this is what the Lord's telling you, I'll pray about it and we'll do it. And this was, I want to say it's 2025, at least 6 years ago. 2019.
Oh, it would have been 18.
Yeah.
17, 18, or 19.
Yeah, one of those years. So it's been closer to like anywhere 6 to 8 years.
Wow.
And fast forward, Bernice and I are married. They were married at the time, but we have them on the podcast. Please give a warm welcome in the comments to Pastor, Prophet, Dallas and Natalie Marley.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, you guys.
Man, how are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
We are doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was asking them as we were driving from the airport. This is not y'all's first time in Houston, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all been to Houston?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
The stock show.
You're.
No, every year. Listen,
Are you joking?
you can't tell by looking at it. I was a cowboy. I used to be a cowboy. And so I always came to Houston for the stock show. But yeah.
You're being so serious.
Oh,
I never know when you're sarcastic or not.
That's a problem, but I'm being dead serious right now.
Yes.
I love Houston. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Enough to move here or?
Enough to it's funny. The other day I flew in from Ecuador, and somebody was like, "What was the spiritual atmosphere like when you got in?" And it was a guy that's never asked me a question like that. And I said, "You're talking about like yesterday when I flew in?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Buddy, I live in a country where cartels are in power, human trafficking is in plain sight,
Yeah.
and I flew in and I thought it felt amazing." So you're like, how am I doing in Houston?
It was great.
I'm doing good.
It's a little hot, but it
Got some
feels
air
amazing.
conditioner.
Yes.
Your ice maker's working.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're going to get to this part. We're going to get to why you guys are even in South America, but we wanted to start from, I guess the top. I explained how I met you guys, or how I met you really, Dallas. But I've always asked people this, like, what is y'all's first impression of me when you met me? So in this situation, I just want to ask, what was your perspective when I was coming up to you, asking you, to be my mentor?
So when we met, you were singing.
Yes.
You sang, and I knew that he was okay. Okay, so my first impression is the same impression I've always had, which is you are very astute you're very regal,
Mm,
and you take everything very seriously.
I see.
Like you don't like y'all can't see what I see, but there's a really nice podcast set up, and it reminds me of me. It's like if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
proper. It's gonna be the best. And you've always carried that that sense of it's really like I think I told you one time that you carry so much royalty.
Mm.
And it's you do things in such a regal manner,
Mm.
even things that are not important. You could be like taking the trash out in the church bathroom and have a procedure for it.
Oh man.
That is so spot on. That's
Yeah.
so spot on. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, man. So we met each other at an event, and then I really don't know when we kind of like I brought you into the mix because we were obviously like dating, but I don't know if I.
I was at that same event.
Yeah.
But you guys invited us to your church.
Mhm.
It was either your church or your home, whichever one of the two.
Mhm.
But I remember going to your church for the first time and feeling the love of God.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we obviously because of our background, like we're African, we know like the lion of God, like we know the power.
Mm.
But how you preached, because I think you preached that Sunday first, I was just like, how can she be so quiet
Mm.
but the love of God is so loud?
Mm.
And that was like the first time having a different perspective of who God was in the most like gentle, loving way possible. And I was like, oh, I don't ever have to yell ever again.
Yeah.
We don't have to yell to pray, you guys. Like, no, those people are like, guys, it's okay.
And they know, and they feel the Lord and
And
experience
the Lord is there. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is so different. But I do remember going to a like 6 a.m. prayer, and you prayed that same prayer of like, I just believe that there's a royalty to your lineage or something like that. And in that prayer, you also said, there's just a purity on you. And at that time, let me just be very honest, there was no purity. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the prayer.
Mm.
And I just remember leaving like, God loves me, and he talks to that man. Like, I know he talks to that man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for what y'all were doing in Lubbock for us and just our community at that time too.
Yeah, for sure. Little fun fact before we start to get into y'all's testimony. At the time, I didn't know this. So because they were praying over us together at the time. It was in the 6 a.m. prayer session, and they were prophesying that. He prophesied that, and then, some other people kind of echoed that. And at the time, I didn't know the meaning of my last name. Crazy enough, I was 21 years old in college, didn't know the meaning of my last name. And for those who don't know, or those that are watching, African names, they have meanings. Anyways, the meaning of my last name means crown befits me.
Wow.
And the meaning of her last name means king.
Wow.
And we're from two different
that
countries in
crazy?
Africa.
Wow.
And yeah, man, there's so much more to that.
Wow.
But that's just to kind of years later, I don't know if I ever told you that at the time, but the Lord was definitely talking to you. And I think there's more in store in terms of that. But
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I remember that
Yeah.
that prayer
Yeah.
because it was like I could see your family line, both of
Mm.
your family lines, and just see the royalty that you guys carry,
Yeah.
and how something in the natural mirrors in the spiritual,
Mhm.
and so many ways that you guys carry that in the world with the way that you conduct yourselves and do life is also what you carry in the spirit,
Mm.
So
Man, thank you. I feel like I'm going to cry on this episode,
Me too.
but I'm going to try to keep myself composed because I haven't been the crier this season.
I've been a crier this season.
But let's get into you guys. I want to hear more of Natalie. How did you guys, where do I want to start? How did you guys come to the Lord? And then after that, I want to hear how you guys met.
So I remember at 4 years old sitting outside my neighbor's house against a garage door.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you said 4?
4. And I asked the Lord to come into my heart
At 4 years old?
at 4 years old.
Wait, are you a PK?
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm actually not. And so I actually didn't really grow up in the church.
Really?
Yeah. And my dad was an alcoholic. My mom did everything to handle 3 kids all at once by herself. Fast forward, when I was in like 3rd grade, I went to church with one of my friends and we made cupcakes. So of course you like want to go back, you know?
Yeah.
And so I came home and I told my mom, I was like, you got to get us in church. Like, we cannot not go to church. And so my mom at that point was, I think, a little intimidated to go to church because she had 3 kids and she didn't want to go as a single mom, but she was also married. So she kind of, I think, feared that question of like, where's your husband? You know?
Yeah.
So we started going to a church. It was a Nazarene church, and we started going there and got really plugged in. I would say that I was like in 8th grade. I was still going to that same church. I was on the playground and I audibly heard the Lord like 2 things. You're going to adopt children someday and you're going to be in vocational ministry. And I was in like 8th grade. And at this point I was at the peak of like dealing with a lot of the lack of a presence of the father in the home, like dealing with a lot of boyfriends every there, like having sex, messing around. But like my heart, like every time I did that, it was like, God, I want to be free. I don't know how to be free.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that I like ever turned away from the Lord. It was just like, just a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of identity issues, a lot of stuff like that. And so from that moment in 8th grade, like I knew like I was called to like do this, you know? And then fast forward, like I still struggled in high school, just like same things, like sexual stuff. Really didn't know how to get free. That turned into like, I'm not going to have a boyfriend. Then that turned into like more like masturbation. At least nobody will know when there's not another person in the picture. So it's just me. Still really just living in a lot of shame, like knowing the Lord, but like not really, like I want to be free, but not knowing how. Also not carrying a message that like really transforms you, you know? And so I was like in youth group, I was doing leadership stuff in the church, like all the things. And then the Lord called me to ministry school. So I left at 17 and went to ministry school, did missions there. And then, then he called me back home to finish college. And that was actually like I didn't want to go home. Like my dad did come to the Lord in my middle school, high school years. But I had to relearn who he was and give him grace for the process to walk out who he was. And so when I went to ministry school and I left and I felt like I found healing and freedom and like all these things, I wasn't dating around, wasn't sleeping around, wasn't doing those things. The last place I wanted to go was home. I was like, God, you just delivered me from this. Why are we going back to Egypt? You know? But I think that's a place that we can fall into so many times. But proof that you're free is not the absence of what you went through in the place of where you went through it. It's that you can go back into it changed and unaffected by it. And so I was really glad for that season of being home with my parents because it redeemed so much. Like I was like, oh wow, like this is great. And then I went and was a missionary, did the world race, and that was crazy. Wow. And so it's just been there from. And then we met after the world race, so I'll let him kind of like share his story, and then we can talk about like where our stories intertwined.
So I started doing drugs and alcohol when I was 13.
Oh, we're going like
right in.
There was no
Took a hard time.
Well, I guess if I started before that, it was my mom took us to church twice a year on Christmas and Easter, and my dad didn't go. And when I was somewhere around 8, 9, or 10 years old, I don't know exactly, I went to church, sat next to my grandma. My mom was sitting with my little brothers and sisters in the nursery. And so I listened to every word the pastor said. And my grandma was so proud of me. And she took me to meet the pastor at the end of the service so she could introduce me because I'd listened so well. We left. We went out the door, got in my mom's car. My mom was like, Granny said you did so good today. you're a listener. You were listening.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I said, and I didn't believe a word he said. I would never want to go back.
Wow.
And I remember that he was preaching like hellfire and brimstone. And I just was like, why would anybody ever want this?
Yeah.
And I was conscious of that as a little kid.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point trying to read the Bible. I didn't understand it. And then I thought I was too smart. So I really got into drugs and alcohol hard. I was always very sensitive as a child, but I didn't know, and I didn't have any space for emotions or to be able to process. And so when I started using drugs and alcohol, it was like an escape from everything that I was feeling.
Yeah.
And so I went off the deep end with that. And when I was 21, I had made a ton of mistakes. I'd hurt a lot of people. I'd been to jail multiple times. I was an atheist. I wasn't just an atheist. I was a mocker.
Whoa.
Like,
Yeah.
if you believed in God, I made fun of you.
Wow.
When you're going to laugh. Okay, I got a joke. When I was 18, I found out that you could get ordained online.
And you did
This
it?
is
And
terrible.
I did it.
He might not need to say this.
You might want to cut this out. And I did it because I was
I remember you telling me
I
this.
wanted to make fun of people. And I was just like, God's not real and you're stupid if you believe in him. And so that was my joke, but the Lord got the last laugh on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
But you would make people call you father.
I would make people call me
Because he was
father.
ordained.
I would be like, yeah. So if that one offends you, you might just want to go to the next episode right now. And so, anyways, when I was 21, my dad had just passed away from cancer. Had a really rough relationship with him. He was God to me. Like, I didn't care what anybody else thought except for him. But the problem with that is that our relationship was terrible, and I never heard him say I love you in my entire life. So when he died, I kind of fell apart. I'd been on depression and anxiety medications from the time I was in high school. And one day I got invited to go on this retreat in college 9 months after my dad died. And I remember staying up all night. At this point, I was selling drugs.
Wow.
I was like being investigated by the local detectives for like criminal activity, and like cops, undercover detectives, like parked outside of my house every day, or on my street every day. And so I remember like laying in bed at 2 a.m, and I had been invited the night before to go to this retreat, and they knew not to invite me. But the one guy who just carried so much grace was like, we got to invite Dallas. So he sends me an email the night before everyone left. And so I'm laying in bed. I've read the email that he sent me at midnight. And I'm like, I've never given God a real chance. And if I died and I had to stand before him, I wouldn't be able to say that I actually tried once.
It's actually crazy that you're even thinking about
Eternity.
standing before him even at that place.
Like, I was just going to ask, why were you thinking about, like, how did that even come up in your head if you're so far from him?
Two things. When I went to college, this is going to be so out of left field. I took mushrooms once. And I woke up the next day and my roommate said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't know, but there's a creator." And so I moved from an atheist to an agnostic because I took mushrooms once. And so I at least knew there was a creator.
Yeah.
And then my life got real wonky in terms of that stuff. And then when I was getting in trouble with the law, the things that they were investigating me for, I remember I would say, "God, I don't know if you're real. If these charges go through, I'm going to kill myself. But if somehow they don't, I'll serve you for the rest of my life." And so I was talking to God. I just didn't know if he was real. And I also did that when my dad was sick. I would say I would try to give my life to God so that my dad would be saved. Like that he wouldn't die. And I didn't know what I was doing, but it was like I was always like trying to barter with God for something of like, if you'll do this. Yeah. And so that day I was like, I don't know if he's real. I've got no credible proof. Like my dad died and like this is still a bad situation. But I was like, if he's real, I would, if I had to see him and he was real, I wouldn't be able to say that I tried legitimately for once. So I went 12 hours later, showed up at the parking lot. The first thing they do is take my phone. the guy takes my phone. He's like, you don't need your phone. You're going to meet Jesus this weekend. I don't know what that means. But I go and I'm there for 24 hours and I become the problem child pretty quickly. You know, like it wasn't for lost people. It was for believers. So they're doing talks on stuff I don't agree with. Yeah, I would be sitting at the table and they're like talking about how pornography is bad, and I'm like, hey, ain't that bad, you know? Like,
Oh my, yep, you're the kid.
I was the guy, you know. Look, dude, the women, the intercessors were in the back room, like fasting and praying for me.
Women specifically.
So, anyways, the second night we were there, it was like a prodigal son talk. And the guy giving the talk, I remember, like, I don't like this guy at all. I'd known him since I was a little kid. I was like, I don't like him. And I like him. It was just like in the moment, I was like, I don't like him. And in the moment, all I could think was, I need to leave. I need to leave this entire place right now. It's all I could think. And
Are you uncomfortable?
right now?
No.
Oh, in the moment?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm so mad at the guy who's speaking, and I want to go home because I realized that I made a terrible choice. These people are crazy and I don't believe any of this stuff. And he gets done and he's like, there's a little paper heart under your chair. You can take it out. And if there's anything that you feel like that you need to bring to God, just write it on the piece of paper. And then go to the front of the room. There's a hammer and nails and a cross. You can nail it there, right? I've never been to church camp. I don't know that this is kind of a thing that you do at some church camps. For me, this is the first time. And I'm not having it. I'm
What
like,
do you do?
what do I do? I sat there for 30 minutes. Everyone was done. And I was like, no, I'm good. My life is perfect.
Wow.
I literally, in my head, I'm like, my life is perfect. I should stand up and walk out of this room right now. When in fact, I was taking multiple prescription medications for anxiety and depression, and I had no idea how to get out of it.
Yeah.
I was suicidal. Like, I would always think, I wish I could die, but I'm too ashamed to actually kill myself. And so finally, I wrote one thing, and then I wrote another thing, and then I wrote like 50 things. I couldn't even see what I was writing. This heart was too little for me. They needed a bigger one. But I walked up to the front of the room. I nailed it to this cross. I went back to my seat, and I said, okay, God, if you're real, here I am. All the depression, all the anxiety, all of the fear, it came off, and I saw God. And I didn't see him, but every part of my being felt him physically and felt his love, and I knew that he was real. And I was completely delivered. Like, I didn't have any of that language at the time. All I knew is that everything bad that I was feeling was gone, and all I felt was perfect love, acceptance, and forgiveness.
Wow.
And I sat with a guy after that, and I said, people have been trying to tell me about this my whole life, and I never understood it. But it's real. And I was blind, and now I can see. And I knew that day that I would do ministry, that I would be a pastor. And I knew nothing. I went back to my room that night and I read the Bible, and I read the New Testament, read Matthew, everything made sense. And I cried for an hour. And then I cried every day. I cried every day for 4 months straight. I was at Texas Tech too. This was in 2012. I would walk to class and I would see a tree, and I would just be like, he made that tree. It's so
I feel like all Christians go through that phase. We're just like, no, please. Like, you're just like in awe and want to preserve everything.
It's like the purest worship.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like that in heaven.
Yeah.
You know, just like
Cry at everything we see.
but I mean, that's how it was for 4 months. I was out of my mind. I would literally be sitting in class listening to the teaching, whatever the professor was saying. I would walk up to the end and I would be like, my brother in Christ. Have you heard about him? Like, I'm not joking.
Oh man.
I didn't call anyone their normal name. Like, I called, because where I went, they would say brother in Christ. So I was like, this is what I call people.
Oh,
You are my brother in Christ. You're my sister in Christ.
Oh my God.
And I was out of my mind in the best way. and I had no idea, but I understood. You couldn't have convinced me that I wasn't new. You couldn't have convinced me that he didn't change me, and you couldn't have convinced me that I wasn't free. He was talking to me every day. I didn't understand that he was talking to me. I sensed his presence every moment of every day. I didn't even know it was his presence. I just knew it was a physical sensation that would run all the way up and down my body. And then I came to understand, like, this is him. And that's pretty much how I lived until I started to think, okay, he's given this to me. What am I going to do now to be able to keep it?
Yeah.
And so my walk turned into, it started out as like a free gift, and then it turned into, what am I going to do to be able to show him that I deserve it? And then I kind of stepped away from it.
Yeah.
I didn't step away from God. I just stepped away from it,
the gift that it was.
I turned it from being about what he did into what do I need to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Before you go there, because
Okay.
I get a sense of where you're going, and it coincides with what I want a lot of this episode to be about. Well, tomorrow we'll figure it out. Anyways, I think it's profound that the Lord would meet you the way that he did. Because I think a lot of people, there are two buckets of people when it comes to this conversation to me. There are your conventional, I've been in the church, and, you know, my parents are involved in the church, and it's just like the normal thing that we do. And, you know, you're not really living for the Lord. You don't know who the Lord is. And then you meet the Lord, right? And then you have your people who didn't grow up in the church, right? Who they couldn't be further from the church building or setting. And the Lord meets them in the most unconventional way. And I think it just speaks to how dynamic God is, the lengths that he's willing to go to get you and to reach you. And ultimately how that speaks to how much he loves you. I remember when you told me this story when we were in college. I've grown up in the church. And when you told me that you knew that there was a creator after taking mushrooms, I said, oh, wow.
Praise God for mushrooms.
Yeah. Must have been a good type of mushroom. Man. And so it's like, but one thing I knew, and this is a thing that I just want to tell you, a lot of the things that I've thought you'll know in these next 2 days, but I just know that the Lord is with you guys. I just know it. Like, it's not something that can be explained through, I mean, there's certain things from a theological standpoint and doctrine that, like, yeah, they do this and I know, like, the Lord's with them, but like, it's a deeper knowing, like, God is with them and he speaks to them and he hears them and they hear him. And was a lot of the reason why I clung to you, and obviously us dating, it's like, we got to be around these people. But before we even get into some of the meat here, how did you guys end up meeting?
Okay, so I'll catch it up a little bit. Basically, I never fell away from the Lord, but I went through a process of learning a lot, growing a lot, and I actually never went to church for like 2.5 years. And
wait, how are you getting fed?
how was I getting fed?
Like, you were reading the Bible.
I was just smoking weed and reading the Bible with Jesus.
I don't know.
That is true.
Wait, no, seriously.
Since he kind of amplified that point, I don't know if people are ready for this. For the first like 6 weeks to 2 months, I didn't have any conviction about smoking.
Oh, wow.
And so I would go home. You might want to, okay. You might want, I would go home and I would smoke and I would do devotional and I would cry with the Lord.
Wow.
And the religious mind doesn't understand that, but a father does. Because
Okay, speak on that. Because I know that
because
there might
like
be
the
some
thing
people.
is we have such a religious mind of like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you smoked weed and God met you? And we have a religious mind of all of the things that we've got to do so that he'll love us and accept us. But a father is willing to go to any lengths. And so he was willing to speak my language until I learned how to speak his. He was willing to meet me
Mm-hmm.
and not be offended at where I was
Mm.
because he knew where we were going. And we have this mindset of like, I've got to do all of these things to get in the right place so I can be what I need to be so that he can take me. And he's like such a father where he's like, I will meet you. And he met me because I didn't have a conviction about it. I didn't until I did.
Yeah.
And when I did, I would have panic attacks if I smoked, and then I couldn't smoke anymore.
Wow.
And so it was like, it didn't deter his vision, and it didn't deter how he saw me.
Yeah.
And he still met me. And so that's just where I was. And so I didn't get fed, and my life fell apart. I didn't have a mentor, and my life fell apart. I love the Lord, but everything that I got free from came back. I didn't have community. I didn't have anything. And all I knew from what Christianity was, how I saw it on the outside growing up, was just try to do good. And I couldn't do good.
Yeah.
And so so my life actually got way worse because now I was back doing all the things that I was before. It wasn't just smoking. I actually got into a lot of harder drugs, which I'd done hard drugs before, but I got into harder drugs. And now I'm like, I'm doing them, but I don't want to do them. And I feel bad about doing them, and I keep doing them. So I ended up getting arrested again. And this time I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is some like Romans 7 stuff. I don't want to do this, but I keep doing it.
Yeah.
And so I end up going to jail and get put on probation. And he's like, you got to stop drinking or else you're going to go to prison. And I don't know if he really meant that, but I believed him.
Yeah.
So I actually started going to AA, and then I went to AA for like a considerable amount of time. And there was a guy there that I really liked. And my roommates one day said, hey, we should go to this new church that just opened, this new building. We walked in, and I sat behind the guy that I remembered from AA. And I thought, this is my church. And that was the church that she worked at.
Would you look at that?
That is crazy.
So Natalie, when you saw him, what did you think?
I never would have thought there was ever a future. This is what I knew. I saw him. I knew the guy that he's talking about. I was actually really good friends with him. And
Wait,
there was
I think I remember your story because there's two.
yes.
There was Dallas.
He's not the guy. But
Okay,
He's not the other guy.
Okay.
No. However, yeah, there was just nothing there. However, I did acknowledge that he was like hungry. Like he came in at the state he was in, but I did notice like he's hungry. And after he had been there for a while, our college pastor, who I was doing a lot of things in the church, but I also like ran the college group with our college pastor.
Okay.
So he started coming to college group. It had been a while. You started going when?
as soon as I got there,
I know, but when did you start going to Harvest?
into 2014.
Okay. Like, do you know the month? Because it was like November that someone asked me what I thought about him.
That was a year later.
That was a year later. So I had known him, and I always
She'd known me for a year.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I was the one like leading the classes on how to hear God, you know, and he was the one like, I've never heard God, you know, like he had, but he just didn't really acknowledge it. But I remember in like November, our college pastor was like, what do you think about Dallas? And I was like, whoever he marries is going to have a really fun time, and it's going to be an adventurous life, but that ain't for me.
Wow.
I was on fire for the Lord. I mean, every time the doors were open, I showed up. I ended up on the ministry team. I was on the college ministry team. I was on the Sunday morning ministry team.
You did.
This is a big church. I mean, they're running like average members were probably like 1,500 people.
Yeah.
You know, not like if you were to look at the actual membership, you know, they're averaging probably 1,100.
I mean, we probably had what, 200 in college? Like
200 college
group
students.
was like,
That's a lot.
So I'm leading the college student ministry team. I mean, I'm there every time the doors are open. If you got something, I'm doing it, and I'm volunteering, and I was just all in because I was learning and growing so fast.
Yeah.
And so same thing. I'd known her for a year, and she was one of the leaders of the college ministry. Her and the other guy would preach. And he took me to lunch. He was like, "What do you think about Natalie?" I was like, "Nope, she's not blonde. And she's not this. And she's not that. She's not what I'm looking for. And I don't think she's
trophy wife."
And I'm not attracted to her at all."
Wow.
And
it's true.
so we dated. We didn't date.
We didn't.
And I actually met the person that I thought was like the perfect picture. And she lived in Dallas. And then she was talking to some other dude as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so,
Not really.
well, yeah, kind of. Not really. But the door was open for you.
Yeah.
I wasn't dating this girl, but it was like we were in processions, you
Mhm.
know.
Gotcha.
And so anyways, there was a day where I was working at a retreat and I was speaking at this event, and
The same retreat you got saved
the same
at.
place I got saved at.
Wow.
And I went there, and you don't take your phone. So I was talking to her about college ministry stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to the other girl because I was trying to marry her. And I texted them both. And I said, I'm not going to have my phone for the next 4 days. I'll talk to you when I get done. And the girl from Dallas said, awesome, I'll talk to you later. Natalie said, awesome, I'll be praying for you.
Ding, ding, ding.
And that was it.
And so, no, that wasn't it. That wasn't it, but that was kind of it. So on Saturday night of the event, I am in this chapel and I'm talking to the Lord. And I'm like, Lord, you got to tell me who's the one. Tell me who my wife is. Because I'm like, there's the one. Like, I got to find the one. I got to find, like, who am I destined to marry? And the Lord said, the one is whichever one you choose.
Yeah.
And he said, you can choose the girl from Dallas, and you know what you're going to get. He said, you can choose Natalie, and you know what you're going to get. And he said, so whichever you want to choose, you can choose them. And he began to speak to me about, without choice, there's no such thing as love.
Yeah.
And we think that God has made us robots and that he said, you marry this person. And I'm not saying he doesn't say that, because I know people that say that. I'm saying that if you don't bring your free will into it, then what is going to sustain you in the moment where you're not really sure if you heard the Lord right?
Yeah.
Because the power of I love you to my wife isn't in that I'm being obedient to God's call. The power of I love you is that I am actively choosing you.
Yeah.
That's why God gave us choice, because we couldn't love him if there wasn't a choice.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. I do believe that this was destiny. Like, this was my wife. This was God ordained. I do believe God will show you what's best.
Yeah.
But there's a choice, and he showed me about the choice. And so I got home a week later. I called the girl in Dallas. I said, hey, it's been super nice getting to know you. I'm never going to talk to you again.
Oh my gosh.
Broken heart.
And I deleted her, blocked her. And I was like, I can't, like, it will not do, like, because I had built such a relationship with her through talking. I was like, I can't have any sort of, like, we're not going to be friends now.
Yeah.
Like, so I blocked her, deleted her and everything. And then I called Natalie immediately after, and I asked her to go on a date.
Wait, can I be mischievous right now and ask you, what if they both said, I'll pray for you?
Oh, here's the thing. It wasn't about that moment, because here's the thing. I had hung out with the girl from Dallas, and she wanted to, like, she would have hooked up.
Gotcha.
She portrayed herself to be someone she really was.
She worked for like a really big ministry, and she was like she was the protege of the leader of the ministry.
Oh,
I see.
And so like when I met her, the resume was nice.
Yeah.
When I got to know her,
You understood who
It
she
was
was.
I understood that there was two different people.
Gotcha.
And that doesn't mean she's
Religion.
bad. That doesn't mean she's a bad person.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
So when the Lord
Natalie
was like,
hadn't
"You know
kissed
what you're
anybody
gonna
in
get,"
9 years when we met.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that your wife has to do that. I'm saying
Right.
like when I met the Lord, I knew what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I had a conviction in my heart of like, my wife has to be on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got to be anointed. She got to love the Lord. She got to be okay with our lives being on display for the world, meaning we don't live two different lives. We don't live hidden, and like, I just knew who she needed to be.
Yeah.
She didn't have to preach, but I was like, she probably will. So I had an idea in my mind based on like what I knew the Lord had called me to, things that he placed in my heart when I met him, not knowing anything. I knew that I wasn't just marrying someone based on looks. And here's the thing. I went through a whole process because I was intentionally single for 2 years and really for 18 months. And during that 18 months, the Lord did so many things in me. Like he would speak to me and say, I remember I went to a Texas Tech football game in Houston, actually, when they played LSU a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
And there's like millions of college age girls. And I remember walking around and I thought they were all ugly. And I left. I was like, Lord, why did I feel that? And he said, and they weren't ugly, right? I said, why did I feel like that? And he said, because you think your value is tied to how beautiful of a woman that you can find. And right now you feel so low that there's no woman that looks beautiful enough to make you feel better.
Ooh.
And that was before I met her. And so the Lord had to work a lot of that stuff out. But basically what happened is, to make a long story simple, is I asked her to go on a date. We went on a date. Is there anything you want to add before I say this?
I will say that, like, he was talking to the other girl. I had just someone else that people were trying to set me up with, but it was in that, like, the beginning works, you know? So it wasn't like I was actually dating him or we were even like talking. We really weren't. And I remember people saying, like, what do you think about him? You came to the Super Bowl in February with all my family and like some more friends, a few friends. And my family was like, do you like him? Are y'all going to be together? And I was just like, no way. Like, no, like, he's just a friend. Like, we do a lot in college group together. And so then this was not very long, like, long after he asked me out on a date. And I said yes.
Why
and
did
my
you say
mom
yes?
flipped. Exactly. That's what she
Yeah.
said. Why'd you say yes? Like you just said like a couple of weeks ago. And I literally don't know how to explain it other than I feel like my eyes were opened. I feel like the Lord like saved my eyes until it was time.
Wow.
And because like I literally was so excited and I was like, I'm going to go on a date like with Dallas. And my mom was like, no, you're not. You're settling. You just told me 2 weeks ago. Like he's not the one. Like, what are you doing? I mean, literally it was a whole thing. Like they weren't excited for me. They're like, what are you doing? I mean, they were kind of, but they were very confused. So was I.
Yeah.
But literally it was just like a moment. I felt like the Lord like, and it was the same moment. It was like, as soon as he knew, it was like, okay, now my eyes are open.
Yeah.
And so it's just like the Lord's timing, you know? And
But here's the thing. I didn't know. I was like, I'll ask her on a date. I didn't know. So I asked her, I called the other girl, and then I called Natalie, asked her on a date. The date was like 2 days later. So we went on the date. I didn't think we were going to get married, so I took her bowling.
and I beat him. And now it's hung over his head forever.
I would have done something more romantic had I actually, believed that we were going to get married. But we went bowling. We go bowling.
Oh, no.
Her first question is,
Not my first question.
no, okay,
Oh, I
but
can't
like
wait to
her
hear
first
this.
deep question,
Forgive me.
She's like, all right, so Natalie, she was like, we have leveled each other out because
Obviously, you've heard our backgrounds are very different.
I'm very like spontaneous, loosey goosey, just kind of like, whatever. And she's like intense.
Wait, can I guess what she asked you?
Yes.
What?
Did you ask him if he struggled with pornography?
No, but
no.
that would have been a good question.
Okay.
No. Okay.
I mean, to that level, yeah.
You
kinda.
actually taught me to ask people that. Or
Yeah.
to ask, there was like a women's group at your house, and you're like, ladies, I think it's really important that you ask the guy that that is courting you or that's interested in you, like what he struggles with. And I've like always like kept that in my head. So I
that
tell
was
all my
actually
girlfriends
what he struggles with was more the question.
So she said,
Kind of.
what is your biggest fear in the idea of dating me? I was like,
that. Whoa. Oh my gosh.
and I said,
Intense.
I said, look, dude, I'm telling you, she was intense.
That's
I've
how I knew
like
you were
chipped
the one, 'cause you
I've like
actually
chipped the
stayed.
edges off a little bit over the years, but I said that I won't be good enough for you. And what do you think she said? You won't be able to guess it.
I probably won't.
She said, the Lord told me you were going to say that.
No
I
way.
didn't know I'd say it like that.
No
Maybe I
way.
did. But I was just like,
She
I
did.
knew. That's why I wanted to bring it
I was
out.
like-
Because
I
I
was
wanted
like-
to address the lie. But I didn't know how.
Oh, y'all are different.
Wait, did you
What?
wait? Did you
Y'all
pray
are
about
different.
this date before?
I told my cousin.
Let me finish the date. Let me finish the date. That was the first step.
Oh, there's more.
So
This is
then,
not advised. This worked for us, maybe
so
not.
then
for you.
we left bowling, and she, I don't know if he'd even told me the rule yet, but she had a rule of like, I will not sit with you in a parked car. I think that was the rule.
No, we didn't talk about.
We didn't have that
boundaries.
rule yet,
We
but
talked about boundaries.
We decided to drive around the loop in Lubbock, the highway that
Yeah,
goes around the
I
city,
remember.
you know?
Yeah.
And she said, I just need you to know there's a few things. I can tell you exactly where we were on the loop when she said this.
Me too. Where do you think we were?
Like in front of Longhorn. I don't know.
Oh, I know exactly where y'all are at.
So she said, I'm going to adopt. I want to have a lot of kids.
Going back to the 8th grade thing.
Yep.
And if you're not okay with that, then this isn't going to work. I said, okay, I'm cool. And she said, if you don't see us getting married within a year, then we can wait until you're ready. Today.
Wow.
I love it. I think this is normal.
I think
This is great.
I'm surprised she didn't scare me off, man, honestly. But I think it didn't take very long for me to start seeing stars. And I'm pretty sure I was holding your hand. Did I get the hand hold?
You did.
I got the hand hold.
Yes.
I tried to kiss her not long after that. She said, nope.
No first date. Oh, I said.
I tried to kiss you on the first date?
Yes. Bad mistake. He didn't know I hadn't kissed anyone in 9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't take long though. And so we went on that date, went home. The next day I went to her cousin's wedding. The day after that, I went to lunch with her dad and asked him if I could formally date her. And he said yes.
Wow.
And that was on a Sunday. And on Sunday night, we went to Starbucks on a date.
Mm.
And when we went to Starbucks, the Lord said, you need to tell her the worst things you've ever done. And she also felt the same. So the difference in me and her is that it was the worst things I had ever done. And for her, it was the worst things that had ever happened to her. And so she went first. I'm like, I don't care what you say. Like, you could say you killed 10 people. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's,
You're locked
mine's
in.
worse. And so then I tell her what the things that I've done. And I mean, I hurt people.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't a good person. And I was so convinced that all of those things were going to disqualify me from life or a marriage or ministry or whatever. And so I told her, and she looked at me and she said, that's not who you are anymore. I don't care. That's not the man that you are. And I know who you are. And I remember in that moment, I was like, I love her. This is my wife. And so 3 days later on a Wednesday, I picked her up to go on a date, walked out of her house, looked at her, and I said, I can't wait any longer. I love you. And she said, I love you too. You
Has
know
it
that
been
part?
7 days?
It hadn't been 7 days.
Oh my God.
I knew you guys got married like really fast. I just didn't
So
know the
fast.
details.
So within 10 days, I'm at the ring store. And it didn't get real till I went to the ring store. Because I walked into the ring store and it hit me. And I stopped. And I freaked out. And I was like, this is a ring store. And I could tell that the ring store lady, she was familiar with this. Because she looked at me, she said, honey, just take a deep breath and come over here. I'm going to help you out.
Please don't pass out in my store.
And so, anyways, I didn't order a ring that day, but I ordered a ring like maybe a month later, 3 weeks later or something. My mom thought I was insane. She was like, you've got to give this more time. And I was like, nope, this is my wife. And so 3 months to
We
the
were
day
engaged.
Wait,
we
can
got
I-
engaged.
Can I ask you guys, on the first date, were you guys on the same page of like, we're gonna date after this? I thought this was just like for fun.
The first, okay, so she didn't hang out with people for fun.
No.
Oh,
She didn't talk to boys for fun. If you
Oh,
were a boy,
okay.
she didn't talk to you.
Okay.
She didn't hang
And
out
I'm
with
assuming you did that because of all that you had gone through growing up.
Yeah.
I see.
And I just was like, why waste my time? Like,
Mm.
you know, like why?
you. We did have a very different perspective.
yeah.
I had a lot of like friends that were girls.
Yeah.
We ain't friends no more.
yeah.
And she didn't have any friends that were boys. I mean, she had like acquaintances,
Yeah.
but she wasn't building close relationships with the opposite sex.
I see.
So but here's the thing. The one piece of advice that the pastor had said, he said, when you ask her on a date, you have to tell her why. You have to be intentional. And I always teach this to people. I'm like, you need to be intentional
Yeah.
because you like you may have an idea in your mind of what you're doing. They also need to know. And so even if it's like, hey, you know what? I might like you, but I would like to hang out with you as a friend to get to know you, then that's okay. You are being intentional.
Yeah.
You are defining the relationship. And so so I was intentional. I said, I would like to take you on a date. So it was a date.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And on that date, she kind of laid out, this is the stuff. And she
I will
asked,
say that before the date, so my cousin got married the day we went on our
the day after.
the day after. So I had rehearsal the night before.
Good.
So we couldn't go on our date until after rehearsal. But I had told my cousin before, like, I'm going to marry this man. So, like, I felt like the Lord had told me that. And so, not
Really?
like, I don't know that I would have had I not felt that.
Gone
I
on
don't
a
know
date.
if I wouldn't have, like, gone as direct and straightforward,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? But then
Yeah.
also looking back, I'm like, maybe I could have just trusted the Lord that he would want to adopt someday if he told me I'm going to marry them. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Ah.
But I do think, like, in general, like, I feel like before the date, I knew.
Yeah.
Because I was not even like people had tried to set me up with people, date people. I was just like, no, you know? And then, like, even for me to have the peace to say yes on a date felt
Yeah.
like, okay, this is the Lord.
Oh,
Because I had
yeah.
said no for so many years,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think, like, before I knew, and yeah.
Did you know of his story like before?
I knew he was crazy. I didn't know how crazy he was.
I mean, there was a time whenever I told her,
But-
like, these are the people I've had sex with.
Yeah.
And she didn't expect
That many.
that
Some of
many
the
people.
Oh, that many.
Yeah.
Was that before or after?
We
that
were
was when
already
dating.
dating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that wasn't as big of a deal to me as, like, things I'd done.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah, no.
So
But again, like, I think,
context for our relationship.
Yes.
We were ready. By that point, I had been single for 2 years intentionally. I'm talking like not looking at nobody, not thinking about it. Like
Yeah.
the Lord said,
no.
grow. No, say no and grow.
Yeah.
And that period of time is where, like, I found freedom.
Mm.
I stopped looking at things that I wasn't supposed to be looking at.
Mhm.
Like, I found freedom in that time, and the Lord did things in me. So when we got together, like, I was ready and she was ready. She'd been waiting 9 years.
Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But we were ready and we were mature. It's funny. I don't know. Because when I look back, I'm like, I was not mature. But I was much more mature than I had been.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you were growing literally every single day at
Yeah.
rapid speeds. Like, you were not the same person week to week.
Yeah. Like,
in
Wow.
season.
I was growing so fast. And so that's like context. But but like, if somebody's listening and they're like single, you need to like hear the Lord on those things. Like,
Yeah.
Lord, is it my season to date or is it my season to be single?
To be single, yeah.
And then if you're single, be like, Lord, whatever you want to do in this season,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I don't want this season to go longer than it has to because
Yeah.
I'm not submitting myself to the work that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
This is a topic that is popular generally in the faith,
Yeah.
right? My single season versus like,
uh-huh.
and I think the point that you're pointing out that is super like important is the need to be obedient and surrendered to whatever the Lord wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we have our own aspirations and ambitions, but if the Lord is like, hey, I want you to sit tight that you had a heart to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's so important.
I think the key is I'm really big on this in every part of my life is there's not a principle. Like we always want to make something a principle. And the Christian faith is not one of principle. It's one, we don't follow principle. We follow a prince. Like we follow a man and a spirit that leads us and guides us.
Yeah.
And there are things of like the people shouldn't do these things because they're going to have a bad effect on you. But there's a lot of your walk where it's like, we want a principle and he wants to guide us in a daily walk.
Yeah.
And the reason that we want a principle is the same reason why the Israelites told Moses, no, go back up and tell him to give us a rule, set of rules.
Yeah.
And so anyways, the thing is like, your story can't be my story because it's got to be your story. And because I took 18 months doesn't mean you even have to take any time because you might already be ready.
Yeah.
And so I'm big on that. But anyway, so 3 months after we went on our first date, we were engaged. And 3 months from that day, we were married.
So
guys, that's insane.
6 months of intentional like courting, dating, and you were married. And you've been married for how long now?
9 years.
9 years with
9 years this month.
8,000 children.
Yeah, we're 4 children.
And
You guys
they're
are
still
full-
counting
full-
too.
full-
Because
Hey,
Football team.
we're waiting
We
for
gotta do the
exactly.
adoption.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
No, that
One
is, I can't, we've always had candid conversations over the years, especially about our culture, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, Dallas is a handsome Hispanic man. And no, I'm messing around.
See.
No, but oh man, the camera died. Anyways, we'll do the main angle here. Anyways, so having conversations about our culture and like how that has played a role in shaping our perspective on things and even like our view on the faith and things like that.
Yeah.
I remember when you told me this in college. That is unheard of.
It's so unheard
in our
of.
culture. And I say our culture, not specifically African, like just black folk. Like, no, we gonna vet you out. We gonna make sure you got money and you got a job and you don't got children that we haven't heard about. Like,
Yeah.
and I think beyond culture, it's not really a culture thing because now that we've grown and we've been married for 3 years, we've seen people of all races like get married in 2 seconds or in 10 years. It really doesn't matter. I think it's the fact that you guys were just obedient to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, man. I actually am against long dating. And maybe I shouldn't be, but that's my hot take. And the reason is because it is a choice. And I understand getting to know the other person. But a lot of the dating is either you maturing until the time that you're ready to get married, which is maybe you shouldn't be dating. Dating is you spending a lot of time trying to decide if you're not going to get hurt, or you spending a lot of time looking for conditions when the love is going to have to be unconditional. And
Ooh, that's a good one.
and so like marriage it's the choice. Like, it's why I'm like, okay, it's good that you fell in love. That's great. But it is the choice that sustains you. It's when you're 5 years into a marriage, it's not, I heard the Lord that sustains you. And I'm not against that. It's the day that you get up in front of a group of people. And I say this to people that I marry. I'm like, I need you to understand that you have to go into this marriage with no thought of divorce. Not because God will hate you. That's not it at all. It's because you can't go in thinking there's a way out, because if you think that, then you don't know what marriage is. Marriage is until death do us part, and I'm going to hold up my side of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose you when you mess up. I mean, really, in our relationship, she's the one who chooses me when I mess up. You know, like she don't mess up very much, but it's the sense of, and even when we have hard talks, the conversation always seems to come back to like, do you believe that I'm going to continue to try to invest into this marriage and into getting better and improving, like regardless of what happens? And I just don't think we have a grid for that, because so much of our love is conditional.
Yeah.
And so much of our marriages is me needing you to love me a certain way so that I can be okay. And we've actually started preaching that. And we brought things like love languages into the church. Have you ever heard of love languages?
Yeah.
Right? And so Natalie's laughing because I talk about this a lot. This is my hot take. So love languages is the general idea that there are ways that I receive love the best, or that you communicate love to me the best.
Yeah.
Right? You're familiar with that.
Yeah.
And so the general idea carries this thing of we have to, and we did this for the first like 5 years of our marriage. We would go sit down and we would say, are you feeling loved? And how can I speak your love language better? Does that sound healthy? Say yes.
Yeah,
it's a trick question.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like because I want to make sure that you're feeling loved.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. My perspective, and I believe it's the truth, is that it's completely demonic. Hot take. You didn't know the hot take was coming.
I didn't.
Glad you turned the camera back on for that one. Ask me why.
Why?
Because it's not my job to make her feel loved.
Yep.
And if she is looking for me to give her something that she can only get from him,
Yeah.
it's not a healthy marriage. It's idolatry.
It's also just going to make both of you guys stressed out.
Yeah, because I'll never
You
be able
can't.
to give it to
Adequate.
it,
level.
it's not gonna. It will never be perfect.
Yeah.
It's never like it can be good one day and not as good the next day. And now your internal life is being dictated by how good of a job I'm doing today. When Jesus didn't live his life that way.
Yeah.
He didn't wake up so that people would love him.
Yeah.
He woke up to love people. And we have made Christianity about people loving us and how much you love me, and if you've respected my boundaries and if I feel safe around you, when it's not about that. It's about, I didn't come to be served. I came to serve and to lay down my life as a ransom for many.
Do you know how mind-blowing this is in the parameters and the institution of marriage?
For sure.
Like, if there's any place to quote unquote demand love
Yeah.
from your partner, it is quote, like in our minds, in
Yeah.
marriage.
We got a million reasons why divorces are happening. This is actually the number one. It's because I think it's if I think
You're
it's
not meeting
her
my needs.
job to make me okay, then as soon as something goes wrong or she has
I
a
blame
bad
you.
day and I fall apart and now it's her fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you enter a marriage, it is not so that the other person will love you. It is so that you will lay your life down for them. And a good marriage is when two people understand that.
It's true.
And you might walk through a marriage being the only person who understands that for a period of time. And I'm not talking about allowing people to physically and emotionally abuse you. I'm not talking about those situations. I'm talking about most normal marriages. Is I am in this marriage. Listen, I want for her to feel loved by the things I do.
Yeah.
But I don't want her to need it.
Mm.
And there's times, listen, there was a period of time in our relationship where we were walking through a season in church where I didn't know what to do. And I would say, I felt so rejected by people and I had no idea how to lead the church. And we'd lay in bed at night. And I knew that she knew because she was much more mature than me at that time. Right now, I'm more mature than her. But then she was much more mature than me.
You like slid that in there really quick.
So at that point in time, she was much more mature than me. And I would lay in bed. And I needed her to accept me because I felt rejected by everyone.
Mm.
And I would say, what do you think we need to do? And she would say, I don't know. You better go talk to God. And she knew the answer. And if she would have given me the answer, I wouldn't have learned how to get it from him. And the problem is that our marriages, let me give you the non-biblical word. Our marriages are codependent.
Mm.
And codependent
Yeah.
means idolatry.
Mm.
It means that I have given you his place in my heart.
Mm.
So I believe in love languages. There's ways that I can speak. She doesn't care about gifts the way that she cares about me taking out the trash. I know how to speak her love languages. I'm speaking it not so that she can be okay. I'm speaking it because my job is to love.
Yeah.
And my role in the marriage isn't to hold her accountable to what she said she would do. It is to be accountable to what I said I would do. Yeah. And if she messes up for a whole year and never gets it, the most beautiful thing would be if I continue to lay down my life.
Yeah.
And so I'll say this last thing, that she can say something. But I always say this, and I stole this from another pastor, but I've said it enough times that now it's my quote, is marriage is a death march to a life camp. And what that means is this, is that when you get married, you realize how selfish you are.
Oh my.
So bad. So bad.
And you have to deny yourself and choose the other person.
Yeah.
And because like human nature is like, if I want something, I get it. And we have that mentality about a lot of things, but in a marriage, it's not about me getting what I want. It's about me laying down my life and giving you what you want.
Not even just a marriage.
In life. It's in life.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so marriage is a death march to a life camp. Our marriage is the best when I'm laying down my life for her and she's laying down her life for me. Not when I'm going on dates with her every week to communicate with her how she's not meeting my needs.
Mm.
That felt healthy for 5 years.
Oh wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was, but the thing is what we were taught when we learned that in church.
Yeah.
In church. And so,
Can I ask the question
Yeah.
of, we're taught the idea of like codependency not being good for marriage. We're taught the opposite of that. That, you guys are one, you guys should lean on each other. It's oneness. Are you saying individuality?
okay, that's a great question. So we are one.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time that I carry what I'm talking about, I also believe in a level of intimacy. And I'm not talking about having sex. I'm talking about intimacy as an into me, you see, as in, like the other night we were laying in bed, like 3 a.m. It was like, and like we just had this incredible talk. And it was a moment where we were just like really sharing our hearts, like sharing like how we feel. And it was kind of like, it was a moment of like, we just got back stateside.
Mm-hmm.
We've been living in a third world country for 9 months. Like we're kind of taking a breath and we're just talking. And it was like, it was this moment of like realness, and it was incredible. And it was like, it was very intimate in the way that we talked and we shared and we were open. So I don't think it's independence. I think it's understanding that your heart has a seat and it's a throne and only one person can sit on it.
Gotcha.
And whenever I confuse that thing, the best thing I can do is if she comes to me, I'm gonna love you, I'm gonna pray for you, and I know that I cannot fix every problem, because if I fix it, then I become the fixer. I have to in some way redirect you to him.
Mm.
And there's times where she'll be mad at me. This really probably happens more the opposite, but there's times where she's mad at me and I'm like, you gotta go talk to Jesus.
Mm.
And the Lord will settle things in her. And so the thing is like, for years I was like struggling with all this insecurity, and she could have just coached me up.
Mm.
She could have just coached me up and made me feel better. And that's like what 99% of marriages do. I'm just going to coach you up. I'll tell you how beautiful you are. You look ugly today, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
And she would just like send me to the Lord. And
Can I be honest about that?
yeah.
So we've been in that space where like we've been learning this and applying it, and I have to say my flesh hates it. I absolutely hate when she tells me, well, I don't know what to tell you. You got to go to the Lord. And I know it's the truth. I remember the first time she did it within like this year. I was like, what? What did you tell me?
No, because in this specific argument, it was just like blow after blow after blow. And then I had this realization of like, nothing that I say right now is going to make him feel better, at least like long term. And I don't have that power. And it just felt really good to just be like, God can do it. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
So the thing is like, I think it's important for me to soften the edges of this a little bit by saying
Well,
like,
and that was what he needed in that season.
Yes.
Like if he would ask me now, like, what do you think about us doing this
Oh,
and
yeah, you
this?
would-
Then
you would-
I for sure would. But it was like the Lord was showing me like he doesn't believe he can lead. And he's going to lean under your leadership and your ability to make decisions, your whole marriage, if you don't give him space to learn how to hear me and lead for himself. And so I do think that, like, it's, again, not a principle. Like, I'm not just like, go to the Lord, go to the Lord. I don't want to talk about it, go to the Lord. Like, that's not how it works, you know? There are, like, conversations, but it's also, like, there are times where, like, even something that I see is going on in him. And I'm like, my first thing is I don't run to him. I said, God, like, do you want me to address this? Or are you going to address it?
Oh,
Like,
that's
if I have a
good.
problem or even if he offends me, I never go to him first. I take it to the Lord and I'm like, Lord, maybe that's something in me that I need to deal with you. And most of the time it gets resolved between me and the Lord.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, Lord, is it something I need to bring up to him? And he can say yes or no. Most of the time it's no. Like most of the time when we're offended, it's because something in us needs to be uprooted. But we think we got to go to them and like, I mean, and the Bible does say that. If you have an offense with your brother, go to them. But most of the time I feel like offenses can be resolved with the Lord.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and so like they're like, again, it's not a principle. It's more like,
Well, there's been times
what
where
is the
like
Lord saying?
there's been times where like she's led me into his truth and I've led her into his
for
truth.
sure.
It's just there's just such a real thing of like it's not my job to try to convince you
Yeah.
based on how I feel about you.
Mm.
And so
But I also think you can explain it. We really learned that it's more powerful to want something than to need something.
yeah.
Oh, wait, explain that.
So, like, if I need him to tell me that I'm beautiful every day, then that makes me a victim to his ability to tell me I'm beautiful every day.
Meaning if he
But
doesn't
if
do it,
I
then-
just want him because it's like, oh, yeah, that's great.
It's like a supplement.
Or it's even like, if I need him, then it's hard for me to unconditionally love him. Because if he's not meeting my needs every day, then how do I unconditionally love something that I'm surviving off of and he's not performing?
Oh,
But
okay,
if
okay.
I want it, then it's more powerful. If I say I need you, that sounds like, oh, wow, you gotta have it.
Yeah.
But it's actually more powerful for me to say, I actually don't need you, but I want you.
Yeah.
The Christians aren't gonna like that one. Natalie.
No, they're not.
They're not gonna like that. That
Just tell
does
them
not
to
sound
jump in
good.
my DMs. Dude, I
block the haters, so don't
I
do
share
it.
I share ideas that I'm kind of not certain about sometimes.
Mhm.
I'm settled on this one.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That was our second sign to go ahead and wrap up this first part
We're
here.
having too much fun.
Yeah.
We are so excited for what the Lord is going to be doing through you guys. This is not the end. We have a whole nother part. But you guys are probably not going to see this for another week. So praying that you guys were blessed by all the goodness that the Lord was sharing with us today. All the technical difficulties. Hey, man, God is good. I don't know if you have anything else to say before we wrap up here.
No, I'm excited for tomorrow. We didn't even get to like the meat. of
No.
what
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't.
It's okay.
But if there isn't anything else, we thank you guys so much. We'll have you guys back here tomorrow. But without further ado, welcome home.
Bye.